Have you ever purchased a game only to realize that you can't play it? Let's talk about accessibility in games. Hello friends, and welcome back to the channel. But if you're new, hi, hello. I'm Artsy over at the Artsy Gamer. I make art, I play games, and I encourage others to do the same. And welcome to a new series where we review accessibility features in the games that we play. I've tried my hand to review games before, and I feel like I wanted a more focused topic for reviewing, and since dipping my toes into game development, accessibility has become important for me personally. I usually just feature new games as first look live streams. It's less stress and, quite frankly, less work on my part than recording, editing, and figuring out what people are looking for in an overall review of the game. But talking about accessibility in games that I play as a video, oh yeah, we can do that. At the time of this recording, which is November 2024, we still do not have a standard for accessibility features in the gaming industry, or really in general. It's a crapshoot whether accessibility is included in the gameplay at all, and is up to the individual game dev companies whether or not they provide different aspects of accessibility. It can vary wildly from company to company, all the way from the games that they produce. But we need to backtrack and define what accessibility is. In layman's terms, according to game accessibility guidelines, accessibility means avoiding unnecessary barriers that prevent people with a range of impairments from accessing or enjoying your output, in this case, your games. Game accessibility guidelines has been providing a straightforward reference for inclusive game design since 2012 and rate accessibility features from basic to advanced. There are other sites for accessibility discussions and gaming reviews, such as Can I Play That?, a site designed by disabled gamers for disabled gamers to determine how playable certain games are based on their inclusive or lack thereof inclusive gameplay features. There are also a plethora of disabled content creators who actively discuss accessibility in games, such as Grant Stoner, a journalist who highlights as well as normalizes video game accessibility coverage, Arivia, a disabled and chronically ill variety streamer from Norway who actively promotes accessibility features in the games that she plays, Sightless Combat, a blind multi-credited accessibility consultant and content creator. There is also the Disabled Content Creators Collective, or the DC3, on Twitch, which is an active organization that not only focuses on increasing accessibility beyond gaming spaces, but introduces a wide audience to the unique nature of creating while disabled. I'll leave a list of the gaming creators and companies that highlight accessibility in their creative processes, but I just want to put it out there that the concept of accessibility is not new. I also want to provide a disclaimer about these videos that I am an able-bodied person. I don't have any chronic illnesses or conditions that would affect my sight, my hearing, my mobility for playing games, that while I do have preferences with accessibility in my gameplay, I am not impacted when they aren't available to the extent of those who are considered disabled and require accessibility to play games at all. And I want to come at this series as normalizing accessibility because we do need to prioritize featuring accessibility features in the games that we provide to our wide-ranging audience. Because one, we don't know what our audience looks for and prefers in our gameplay, and also I'm of the opinion that it doesn't have to be directly impactful for me to matter. Accessibility should be for everyone. It means everyone. This video is going to be a little longer than usual because I want to explain what accessibility features I'm looking for when I'm playing these games. These gameplay features are broken down into the following categories: motor or mobility for various adjustment to include game speed alterations, controls reconfiguration and adjustable sensitivity, interactive elements and simple UI or user interface, cognitive or anything regarding information processing that incorporates interactive tutorials, simplified simplified GUI or graphical user interface, easy to interpret language, and progressing through text at the player's pace. Vision, which uses easily readable default text size and font, avoiding VR simulation sickness triggers, high contrast options for text and gameplay, hearing for separate volume controls or mutes for effects, speech, and ambiance, subtitles or captions for all important speech, such as in-game dialogue or important game information, speech, which basically ensures that speech input is not required, only as supplementary or an alternative input method, and in general, offering a wide choice of difficulty levels, allowing for settings to be saved and reviewed as needed, and providing a list and explanation to the accessibility features provided. The way I'm going to do this review series is boot up the game, take a look at the accessibility features, enable as many as possible, if not all of them, and play a respectable amount of gameplay to show what it looks like to play them enabled. For a farming sim, that could be an entire day cycle. For a puzzle platformer, it could be a level. And as the pilot episode for this series, we're going to start with Coral Island. Released in early access in October 2022 by Stairway Games, Coral Island is a vibrant and laid-back reimagining of the farm sim games that was heavily inspired by its predecessors like Harvest Moon and Stardew Valley. You return to a community of your past, take on rebuilding the family farm, reconnect with old friends and make new ones, and fight the comically villainous Karen of Pufferfish Drilling Corp. Though many describe Coral Island as one of the best Stardew Valley clones out there, I believe they have set the bar with farming sims regarding representation and accessibility that I haven't seen in the farming sim genre to date. The focus of environmental responsibility and events that reference planting trees, picking up trash, celebrating South Pacific Asian cultures was a breath of fresh air. I know that Stardew Valley is heavily criticized, and rightfully so, for the lack of representation among the community in unmodded gameplay, as well as the lack of gender options for those who are non-binary and prefer alternative pronouns. And while I want to focus on the physical gameplay accessibility features, I do believe it's important that representation regarding ethnicity, gender, and sexual orientation, as well as various conditions and disabilities, should be offered as character customization options if they are available. And that is something that Coral Island does really well. Clothing and facial hair are not gender locked, which means the player can have the closest possible representation of who they are in game that the NPCs not only actively celebrate, but fall in love with. Because newsflash, friends, aside from gender being a socially defined construct, hirsutism, or the growth of excessive masculine pattern hair in assigned female at birth women after puberty exists. Different body types exist. Sometimes a dude wants to wear a skirt. But Coral Island's accessibility features are rather extensive. Not only are there multiple options for changing the UI as needed, they do have a tab specifically for accessibility options that we're going to take a look at. I will preface this review by saying that there is a reason why I haven't played Coral Island since January of this year. The 1.0 release in November 2023 didn't actually feel like a 1.0 release to me. I was experiencing almost game-breaking glitches that was so frustrating, I decided to wait until those concerns were dealt with. And then I was really confused by the fact that dinosaurs were on the farm now, until I read on the game dev log that it was a costume. But their next big update is coming very soon, and I thought it would be a good time to get back into Coral Island and try out as many of their extensive accessibility features as I can. So this is the starting screen for Coral Island. We have very bulbous, very easy to read options in my personal opinion, but again, I am an able-bodied person, so visually, if this is hard to see, please let me know in the comments, because I think it's very important that able-bodied content creators really understand how important certain accessibility features are, actually all of them. But before we get into play, we're going to take a look at the settings. So the settings is broken down by game, display, audio, mouse and keyboard, which is what I'm going to be playing on. It is also controller accessible. You have different languages that are available, and we're going to get into accessibility in a minute. So just want to take a look at all of the different options. We have the display mode and resolution based on your preferred game play, render scale, your FPS limit or your frame rate per second limit, which can really impact how choppy the animations are going to be, brightness level. We have quality preset for advanced video. So basically this will help you based on how powerful your computer is. I have a rather powerful computer, so I usually just keep it on the base settings because it seems to work for my computer, but just like play around with your preferences. We also have the audio. This is something that's very highly sought after when it comes to games, is being able to break down the different volume settings for what you want to enjoy. So for example, as much as I do love the music in these sorts of games, I usually keep it down pretty low. I love ambient sounds, so like the trees, the birds, the insects, people talking, people walking. But for the most part, I keep it pretty standard here, and I usually keep my sounds low because my ears are very sensitive. And the mouse and keyboard, you can play around and toggle what your preferences are. I think that's a very important base requirement. And I really did appreciate that this has always been here. I think accessibility, there was an instance where accessibility was coming soon, but the very fact that we have the ability already to change our gameplay to the way that we want to play has been just a breath of fresh air. And if you use controls, which I do not, you can play around and change as needed. And here are the different languages available. Oh, they have Korean. That's cool. Maybe I should learn Korean by playing this game in Korean. Wouldn't that be really interesting? But this is where we're going to get into it. Accessibility. As I said, we're going to toggle as many as possible. I don't know how comfortable this is going to be for me because, for example, I'm not dyslexic, but I don't think it's going to actually impact my gameplay at all, but I want to see what it looks like. And as a reminder, changing these settings may require a game restart. We are starting a new game anyway, so that's not going to be a problem for this episode. So we're going to enable that. Let's do a font size modifier to 2. Portrait mode. Portrait mode, normal versus zoomed. All right, we'll do zoomed, sure. And colorblind mode. We have a colorblind mode that is currently disabled, but we have, oh my gosh, deuteranope. So we have deuteranope. I hope that I pronounced that correctly. We have protanope. And we have tritanope. Based on my very limited understanding of color blindness, I think deuteranope is the most common, followed by protanope and then tritanope. Why don't we give deuteranope a try? Colorblind strength, we'll keep it at 10. Mouse cursor size, let's put it at 120. Ooh, there we go. And scale HUD. So I think these are going to be increasing the size for the graphical user interface. So we'll put that at 120. And show virtual keyboard on a KBM control. So I'm not going to be using a KBM control, but this is a different option that you can use if you prefer a control that has, a virtual keyboard available. So I think we have everything that we took a look at. We don't need to worry about that. I don't need to change anything here. And I would love to hear if you have specific preferences for how you play games. But I think we can get started. So let's apply. Oh, wow. I already saw the different font. And oh, this is interesting. Oh, wow. And I can already tell the slight difference with the font as well. So for those who are dyslexic, I want to just pause it right now. Does this actually help you? Because that would be really interesting. And we're just going to start a new game. I will get back to this eventually. And this is the accessibility thing when it comes to representation that I find really important. And being able to customize different colors and skin tones, I just think that's so cool. I think let's do a little bit of a curve. And for hairstyle, oh my gosh, I forgot how much I loved the hairstyles in this game. Look at this. Look at this volume. Isn't that wild? Isn't that quirky? Oh, it looks like they did new ones too. And this is absolutely the Karen haircut, 100%. Where is my hair looking these days? Not that one. I think I pretty much have this hair at this point. Eventually, I'll probably cut it off, but oh, wait, no, I think it's this one. I think that's the hairstyle that I have currently. Yeah. The one thing that I will say is because I'm not colorblind, I don't see these colors the same way. So I think we're just going to stick with the customization as is. So cute. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. And we have The flower facial hair thing is the cutest thing. You cannot tell me that you wouldn't fall in love with this person, whomever they are. Wow, so cute. Yeah, no, this is adorable. And then why don't we go with this color? Yeah. Again, it's very difficult for me to see how this looks as a colorblind person, but I mean, it doesn't impact my gameplay, and I really like that. As always, we're going to start with Artsy, and we'll do mechs. Farm type, we'll call it farm. Farm. We'll hold on to these so we can take a look at the tutorials and see if it's been changed at all. But this is cute. And another thing that I really love is that they ask, are you sure you want to create this character? You can change the clothes and the hairstyle later. I don't remember from my previous gameplay whether or not you can actually change your pronouns mid-game. I think you can, but I'll take a look and confirm that when I'm editing. You leave Pokio to start a new life on Coral Island. So my face is covering this, but it does have an option where you can click things at your own pace. So I really appreciate that. Oh wow, it really does change all of the colors. Oh, there's a whale! I forgot about the whale. And there's dolphins and pelicans. Oh my gosh, and trash. Oh wow, this looks so different with blue and yellow for me. Hello Artsy, welcome back to Coral Island, your new home. It's been a long time, good to see you again. I can't remember the last time we had a visitor, haha. And I trust you had a wonderful journey with Mr. Wataru. I always forget. Yes, it was safe and comfortable. Great, I expect nothing less from Mr. Wataru. He's the best sailor you could ask for. I really do actually kind of like this font. I don't know if it would be helpful with it being in all caps, but I do know that some people perceive all caps as like shouting, and there is a character who is hard of hearing in this game that does use all caps, so that's probably why there's a difference. You must be quite tired from the journey. Let's head over to your new place. Cool. All right, the floors are done. Oh my, what a coincidence. I love Dinda. Dinda and Joko are like my favorite power couple. We've just finished patching things up here. Is this the new farmer? That's right, Artsy, this is Dinda and Joko. They're the local carpenters. Nice to meet you. I love these people. Also, the art style is incredible. I remember following the artist who created all of these portraits back on when like DeviantArt wasn't bad. And I loved his art style. They're incredible. Indeed, Artsy, this will be your new house. It's a bit run down, but... excuse me. Did you just say that we did a poor job? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. As they laugh. Don't worry, I'm just joking. Unfortunately, we could only patch up the roof so it doesn't leak and replace some of the rotten wood. If you want more renovations, you can visit our shop and house in Hillside, northeast of here. We won't charge you for it, but you'll need to gather the materials yourself. And again, I know that people say that this is a Stardew Valley clone, and this is heavily referenced as a love letter to Stardew Valley, but honestly, I think that they improved a lot of the issues that many people had with Stardew Valley mechanics. And once you restore the foundation, you can redecorate the house the way you like. Well then, it's about time we head home, see you both around. So far, I really actually do kind of like the large mouse, like the cursor. I think that it makes it a lot easier for me to see where it's going, and it's very clearly defined against the background or the gameplay. So he's told us to go to the general store and meet Sam, and this is the field we'll be spending most of our time. Oh goodness. Oh dear. Yep, and it's huge. It's enormous. It's a bit messy, but I'm sure you'll take care of it in no time. Sure. Yeah, totally. Not for this episode, though. And I really like Connor. He's giving us... Oh wow, he gave us a lot of tools. That's awesome. I'm pretty sure that I enlarged the images as well as the conversation pieces, so I think this is I feel like they did a really good job with their accessibility features. So for this episode, we're going to play Year 1, Spring, Monday 1, and see what is out here. We have some mail. Oh yeah, I purchased the Ocean Guardian charity DLC pack like a while ago, so that's awesome. We got new stuff. Obviously, we need to figure out my outfit situation, so 100%. And here's our extensive tutorial. So we have the farming and allowing for us to clear spots. Equip a seed bag. I love the tutorial. It's very simple. It's also much larger. And yeah, so let's do that, shall we? I forgot how much I really liked the gameplay for this game, because I always feel that with Stardew Valley that I'm not really able to aim in the right square no matter how many times that I click. And for some reason, I feel like I click on the right square majority of the time. All right, I'm just wrapping up the last bit of the watering, but we did that. And so now, after harvesting our first crop, we should probably visit Sam's general store and gathering stone and wood. I really do appreciate the care that they went into making this game as accessible as possible. And as I said, the biggest issue that I had wasn't about the gameplay. It was just, I don't know, when it comes to early access games, when there's things that are not finished, it really takes it out. Like, it takes me out of the immersion, right? So we have Betty with her cute outfit. Very cute, very lovely, very demure, very mindful. Oh, I think, is this Noah? It's been a hot minute since I've talked to Noah. Hi, Noah. You're not what I expected. I mean, I am a superhero. So we now have a calendar. We have Joko's birthday coming up. And then what else? Errands. Somebody wants a carrot. I will not be able to, wait, will I be able to actually make a carrot happen? Sure, I don't even know who they are. But we can make that, we can try. And now we have Sam. Hey Artsy, I knew you would eventually make your way here. I wanted to personally introduce you to the owner of the store. This is Sam. He's been running this establishment for a while now. Hello, it's a pleasure to meet you. Welcome to the general store. You'll find most of your farming needs here. Most of the seeds I sell are seasonal, though it would do you good to keep this in mind. If you need help, just holler. I'll be at the cash register. I like Sam a lot. He's so much better than Pierre, though. Am I right? I don't think I'm going to be trying to introduce myself to everyone in a single day, but also another thing. So when it comes to settings, game time speed is an incredible aid for those who really want to take their time or who want to have faster days. 80% for me feels really good, but just know that 100% is a really long day. I think it's about maybe 30 minutes. 80% is really good for me, but if you do have certain instances where you have like a mining day, you can literally change the game time to be specific to whatever it is that you're working on. It changes immediately, so I really like that. And Ben, hello, how are you? And can I like buy a thing? Sure, we'll get a carrot. Sure, but we do have daisy seeds, turnip seeds, peony, potatoes. We've got cauliflower. We can do some fertilizer. We've got all the fixings, but we're just going to get that started. Although I don't think we're going to be continuing on with this game. And then we have the cat. Oh my gosh, look at the cat being so cute. And we have the little puppies available. Oh my goodness, no, it's so. I remember when this game was in early access that this was just empty space, but we have lizards and puppies, we have people, and we are already at 11:10 a.m. Wow. Yeah, this game feels like I have more time in comparison to games like Stardew Valley. And especially since the game that I'm developing is going to be farming sim adjacent, that I do want to make sure that people do have ample time to have, you know, the time that they need for their games. I must not know, but can you like switch between your tool belt and your backpack? Because I know you can do that in Stardew Valley, but I don't know if you can do that here, which is kind of a bummer. But here, we'll do this and we'll water it for Zoe. There you go. This game still feels like it should with the accessibility things toggled. And what was that? That was new. And oh, I don't have the ability to catch you. That's my, okay. This is something that does bother me with farming sims, is that I do want to be sure that I can catch something. You know what I mean? And I feel that Coral Island has this issue where like the insects are too hard, or like they fly too high and you can't reach them. So I don't know if that's something that they fixed. I keep forgetting how beautiful this game actually is. And no one yells at you for rummaging through trash. And oh, I'm so sorry. His storyline is so sad. And so now we have the bamboo forest, which is closed. I don't think I ever unlocked that. But the ambiance of this game is so beautiful. I am obsessed. We have the kids learning and also representation. Hello, Mex Artsy. It's nice to meet you. So cute. Oh, and here we have Pablo. So yeah, within the span of a day, I think that it is entirely possible to meet everybody, despite the fact that I think, isn't this area so much larger than Stardew Valley is, I think? But the fact that we are able to change the game speed means that you can literally meet everyone in the day. So I really just, Stairway Games has, I think, set the bar for more customizations and more options. And the fact that Derek is still not romanceable is very upsetting. I'm still very upset about that. All right, the other question I have to ask, friends, is who is your favorite romanceable? Because Surya, I think, is my favorite, mostly because I don't know if he like reminds me of me, which is probably very egotistical, but he like has a similar vibe that I appreciate in a partner. And he's really cute. This looks like this has improved since I've last played. There used to be absolutely nothing, but just like no items. So I'm really glad that they are doing that. And ooh, there's this. We can get new clothes. Chicken suit, perfect. I wanted to check the salon, but it's unfortunately closed Monday and Saturday, but I'm pretty certain that you can change your outfits and your appearance with the salon for a short amount of money. Again, I will check to see if we can change our gender preferences, but I'm pretty certain that we can. And my other favorite, which is Raj. Also, I'm not quite sure, but I think the lighting availability this is a lot easier to see in my personal opinion, because there are parts of Stardew Valley, for example, like certain levels in the original mines where unless you have lighting, you really can't see. And the dark is really dark. But this feels like you can alter the brightness settings as well. And it feels a lot easier to manage. Like I can still see where I'm going, and these are highlighted more. Accessibility wise, I do think that Coral Island is pretty up there, and I cannot wait to see what they do with their next big update. Well, friends, that's it for our video. I wanted to say thank you all so much for watching, and I want to hear in the comment section below, what accessibility features do you need to have in games in order to play them? What are your preferences, and what are your favorite games that have these features that let you play them? And I'm going to leave you with a sentiment that I leave on every live stream and video, that I hope you're being kind to yourself and being kind to others and making art and playing games and encouraging others to do the same. And I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!